So the week started with a huge strike in Belgium and last week ended with one in Italy. And Italy's problems typify much of Europe's woes. It's a big economy that's been stagnant for years. Italy's debts contributed to a crisis that threatened to collapse the euro currency a few years ago. But despite that, the country continues to resist change. Owen Fairclough reports.
Rome's Colosseum, an emblem of Italy's glorious past. If the city wins its bid for the 2024 Olympics, it'll play its part in new glories, provided the economy doesn't sink further into debt. Reforms are underway. They include more short-term contracts to overturn a culture where getting rid of ineffective staff is difficult. There's a lot of opposition to reform, as this nationwide strike made clear.
Our prime minister shouldn't allow people to hire on short-term contracts indefinitely. Some people do more than 8 short-term contracts, one after the other. Also, people shouldn't be paid €3 an hour. That's what I earn.
Everyone can see this country is becoming poor. Without public or private funding, we can't go anywhere.
Italy is the third biggest economy in the Eurozone, but it's struggling. Next year, government debt is forecast to hit 133% of GDP. That's more than double the level the EU allows and could lean to billions of dollars in fines. While Italy is home to some of the world's most famous brands like Ferrari, efficiency isn't improving. Labour productivity has stayed the same for 10 years as Northern European economies like Germany, Finland and Denmark add more and more value. As Italy weighs the potential benefit from spending billions on Olympic prestige, many may wonder if it's a bill Italian taxpayers can live without. Owen Fairclough, CCTV.